This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Veterans, be wary of those who may try to exploit you for financial gain. Report suspected fraud at va.gov/OIG/hotline.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
I want to make it clear that the views expressed by our hosts are not considered the official stance of MBR Views. Remember, this is all about having fun and enjoying the ride.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Compass Rose True North podcast. I'm your host, Scott. Now, today we have a very special guest, Alan Beal, the CEO of Armed Forces Brewing Company. Thank you, Alan, for appearing on the show. I appreciate you very much.
Hey, Scott, thanks for having me. I know you've had some other AFBC teammates on here too.
Yes, I see I'm on there and all that, so I'm very, very excited about it. So if you can give us a little bit of brief background of who you are and where you came from before Armed Forces Brewing Company.
Wow. Well, I grew up in Lincoln, Nebraska, of all places, from the Midwest. My dad was in the Air Force, stationed at Strategic Air Command for a little bit. Then he went out of service and into the Missouri Air National Guard, and he ended up moving down to St. Joe, Missouri. So my parents were divorced, so I ended up going down to St. Joe all the time, and I was always on the air base there at Rosecrans in St. Joe. So I was always out at the Missouri Air National Guard base. Got my grandfather served in the Navy on the USS Corson during World War II. Got a couple uncles that are Marines. One's a Purple Heart recipient, served during Vietnam. And then I've got an uncle and three cousins that my uncle served in Vietnam and graduated from West Point. He actually taught at West Point too. And then three cousins that graduated from West Point, two nephews in the Army, one that just graduated boot camp at Fort Sill, now stationed in San Antonio. He's going to be an Army medic. So we come from a long line of military service in my family, and I just grew up in the military community. You know, you're in Nebraska, that wholesome Midwest state, where you're taught respect for your veterans and respect for those that serve, and your respect for your elders and everyone else. So that's where I came from. And then I had a little. I got into the food and beverage industry of all things. I went to the University of Nebraska for maybe a year. I was on the boxing team, and I got my butt kicked on the boxing team.
No, really?
Yeah, like in the three bouts that I did, I just absolutely got beat up. So I kind of quit college and went into the food and beverage industry, and had made my way out to Charlotte, North Carolina, and lived there for about 25 years, and built a lot of bars and restaurants and a brewery and a distillery. And that's kind of how I got into this. I was up doing a bar rescue at a place in Washington, D.C. called Chief Ike's Mambo Room, this dive bar but this bar was in the movie, oh my gosh, it's with Will Smith, Enemy of the State. Oh, he's really running through the bar in Washington, D.C., and they're filming this place. But they've had tons of big stars in there, like Mick Jagger and stuff. That bar had been around for like 45 years. And I was up there doing a bar rescue, and I ran into these two guys, Amit Rupani and Jason Bailey. And they said, hey, I was doing a Guinness beer promotion or something there. And they said, hey, we got this idea for a beer company in Annapolis, Maryland. Everybody in DC goes to Annapolis for the weekend, and everybody goes around downtown and eats and drinks and all that kind of stuff. But they don't have a craft beer scene there, and the Naval Academy's there. And I went, oh, beer and military. Okay, those are my wheelhouses. So yeah, I pulled into downtown Annapolis, and they wanted me to consult for them. And I pulled into Annapolis and saw the Naval Academy there, and the lightning struck and the thunder roared. And I said, this is going to be huge. So I literally picked up and moved to Annapolis, Maryland, like in about a couple months, and started developing the concept. And yeah, I sold everything I owned, started developing beer cans. Special Hops IPA was one of the first ones that I developed, and I started pushing it out there on social media without a beer product out to market. And veterans from all over the world, actually active duty from Guam and Japan, and veterans from all over the world were pinging our social media. Where is this beer? I want it now. Where can I get it? You know? So that's the story of the birth of this concept and this idea. That's a long way.
No, that's great, because you know what? I think it's beautiful, because a lot of people don't realize the things that you do. You didn't just create a company, so to speak. Okay, yes, you did. 100%, no worries about it. But what you created, the biggest, was a family.
Yeah, we got a family and a community. And that's how it was when I lived in Nebraska too. The military that I grew up around over at Rosecrans Air Base, that was a community of guys who had each other's six all the time on everything, not just on the base, not just when they're deployed, but in their personal lives as well. That's what I grew up with. So you're absolutely right. We've got a community of people, and Scott, you're in that community, that family. You know, and we've got 9,000 fellow brothers and sisters in this family of ours, you know, called Armed Forces Brewing Company.
But see, that's great. Is like I said, you have Bob Rubricht, you have Amit Rapani, you have Ray Kashkar, Robert J. O'Neill, and Mick B, of course, Major Ed, Harville Lion Foundation. How did you come about with getting your team together, this family, so to speak, originally?
Well, I stalked Rob O'Neill on Twitter. I kept posting Special Hops IPA posts, and I started tagging him on those posts. And about a year and a half later, he finally liked one of my posts. And as soon as he liked that, I was like, oh my God, Rob O'Neill liked this post. So I actually messaged him on Twitter, and I said, Rob, you got to try this beer. You got to check out the company that we're building. I want you to be a part of it. And, you know, he's a celebrity. He gets 100 people a day probably messaging him on his social media. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of like, okay. I said, I need an address where to send it. He said, well, what's your email address? I'll catch you offline, you know, because, you know, he's got tons of people messaging him, I'm sure. So he emailed me. I think, man, I waited a day or two before he emailed me. I thought, oh, it's not going to happen. Damn it. And he finally emailed me to see if I was a real person. I emailed him back. Yeah. And I think he gave me a neighbor's address or something like that. I don't think he gave me his actual address because he's Rob O'Neill. So I popped a 6-pack and some swag in a box, and I sent that right away. And Rob was in California, swimming with sharks, doing a show for National Geographic for Shark Week. And evidently Jessica, his wife, intercepted the package, and Jessica opened the package. It wasn't even Rob that tried the beer first. It was Jessica O'Neill that tried the beer. And Jessica doesn't drink a lot. She doesn't hardly drink beer, but she drinks beer, but not a lot. Mm-hmm. And according to Rob and Jessica tried the IPA and the special hops and went, texting Rob, this beer's fucking awesome. Excuse my language. Awesome. You gotta be a part of this. And that's when Rob called me and went, I'm in. And I was like, oh my God, this is really happening. This is really happening. So that was kind of the start of the team building that went on there. Heather Blorstadt is our corporate assistant, and she's a local Annapolis person who was not only a trained and licensed, certified, whatever, pastry chef, accredited pastry chef. She's also a home brewer, knows her beer. She's in her 20s. She's young, and she was running a restaurant in Annapolis. And that was my first hire, was Heather Blorstadt. I just knew she was so into the company, so dialed in and what we were doing. Plus she had all these wheelhouses, the beer and the food and all that. And I was like, and not only that, I think she was also into accounting. I think she had gone to school for accounting as well. So she had a great, portfolio there of skills. Hired her to come on. So it was me, Rob, and Heather that were kind of the day-to-day management, starting operations of this whole thing. Well, Bob too. Bob's a partner in it. I found Bob, Amit, Bob, and Jason and I, started this deal and got Rob involved. Well, then all the veterans started coming. Rob's like, Ray Cashcare, come on to the table. Darren McBurnett, come on, you got to get involved in this. And then we met Major Ed Polito. I met him at the Bone Frog Golf Tournament, which is McBee's Uncommon Grit Foundation golf tournament. Major Ed, it's a great day to be an American. And he was sitting there, wasn't playing golf or anything, but everybody knew Major Ed Polito. And he was just a larger than life veteran, Purple Heart recipient, character, if you will, with that voice. And I just, every time I'm driving by in the golf cart, there's Major Ed sitting there and everything. And with his, he always wears these clothes, that are real red, white, and blue, right, and colorful, And absolutely. I was like, I got to know that guy. He just lures you in, makes you want to know who he is. So I introduced myself to him, and he goes, oh, I love what you guys are doing. I said, well, why don't you join the team? He's like, okay, sure. So Major Ed came in, and Chris Page is on our advisory board. He's actually an Army squirrel. He's over in Germany hunting bad guys right now.
Oh, really?
But he was a post commander at a American Legion in New Jersey, and he's the guy that puts on New York City Army Week. So he had all sorts of connections to the national leadership at the American Legion and VFW, and put on this Army Week. We couldn't get our beer up in New York, and just, Dave Bray, Scott, Dave Bray, got him to join the advisory board, patriotic rocker, and just built that team. Gretchen Smith with Code of Vets. I mean, I emailed her. I was in San Antonio. We had just launched Texas distribution. I was in San Antonio, and I had seen her out there and did some due diligence on Code of Vets, and just the incredible real-time work that she was doing with veterans who were in crisis situations, about ready to go homeless, about ready to get evicted, running out of food, just lost their job, whatever the case may be, super triggers for PTSD, getting them the funds, getting them their rent paid, getting them out of that terrible situation. I was like, I got to know her too. I got to bring her on the advisory board after knowing her story too. So that's how the team, came about. I know I'm leaving a couple people off, but I'd be talking for an hour and a half.
I know, right? You have John Galante, which is an amazing guy.
Yeah.
Bob Rubrick, I talked to him last week. He came on the podcast also, and he talked about you guys had discussed this, and we're in the wheelhouse way before it even came about with the beer. But Coda Vets, I got to give special shout outs to them because Coda Vets is amazing. And if you don't know Gretchen, she's an amazing woman who has done so much for the community and for the veterans and anybody who needs help. I can't say that enough. I really, honestly, I can't. And everybody else. And just like Major Ed, being as far as him, he's an inspiration for me. Because I am a veteran. So when I see him with a smile every single day, going through everything that he's gone through in his tour and everything, to have that smile. Can you hear me now? You have your on mute. It's on mute, Alan. There you go.
Can you hear me, Scott?
Yep, loud and clear.
I can't hear you.
What? Can you hear me?
See here. Hang on. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Something happened. Anyway,
we're back. Headphones.
Yep, we're back.
But just with the whole Major Ed issue, I mean, he's an inspiration for me. Ray Cash Care is a very big motivational inspiration. I have a lot that I go through and everything, and to be able to do the things that I do, when I listen to these gentlemen and ladies and all that, it helps me get up in the morning and to be able to do the things that I do. And I'm very grateful to you because, like I said, when I say that you have created a family, you have created a family unlike any other. And I'm very grateful to you for doing that. It's not just a beer. It's not just a company. It is a family. And if anybody doesn't understand that, well, gotta go join it. Don't knock it until you try it, because you, Alan, you're an amazing man. I mean, everything that you have done in this industry to open it up to everybody the way that you have, and to make everybody feel a part. And it's kind of like the whole COVID situation. Everybody got separated and there was no hope. It was a loss to hope. You kind of brought the hope back, so to speak. There's hope in something. You can believe in something.
It came from a passion for veterans. You guys, Scott, you and your brothers and sisters signed on the dotted line to give your lives for me, my family, our fellow Americans, and our country, our way of life. That is I got chicken skin just thinking about it. That is the most selfless act that an American, a human being, can do for other Americans. And thank God for my family. They instilled that respect in me, but it's a huge passion. And we were really trying to find a way to let everyone get involved in this company, trying to find a way. Of course, we were trying to raise money too, so that we could actually go buy a brewing facility. And crowdfunding was always on our mind. That's what we did. And just being able to get all these veterans and active duty. I mean, 75% of our shareholders are veterans. The other 24% are from military families, and 1% are like civilians. But you were at Rally Point, Scott, when we all got together, and I mean, it was electric.
It was.
Everybody there. It was electric. And And that's what it's all about. We're all owners of this family, community, company, beer. We're all owners of it.
But and even at that token, you've allowed all of us a part of your company, of our company, but to network amongst each others. Everybody else. I mean, like I got to be able to be part of Michael Strange Foundation.
Yeah.
Charlie and his wife Mary are amazing people, and the reasons behind everything, God bless them. I'm always very right behind them. But the opportunity to be able to talk to like Dave Bray USA, Charles Strange, Tim Montana, for crying out loud, Mick B, Heather, she's an amazing young lady. I mean, you all had everybody's part is, again, it's a family.
Yeah.
And it's going to skyrocket because it's basically what you try to do. You try to bring a community, everybody together instead of fighting amongst everybody. It's a time to bring everybody together. And you know what? When you bring everybody together, that shows the strength of what it really means to be an American.
Yeah. And we're just getting started. This is just
one the tip of the iceberg.
The whole book of
right, exactly.
Of AFBC. Yep.
I enjoyed Rally Point. Like, I got a little jealous because I hear from Jennifer and all that of Cole, Montana and all that people got to be able to hang out the night before and all that. I thought it was just a shareholders meeting. I was like, man, what the heck? She goes, no, everybody could have came. Heard some stories about you guys closing, a bowling alley and all that, and that was kind of funny.
Oh, the bowling alley. That was Major Ed Polito at the bowling alley. That was his deal.
She made sure to ask me, she goes, make sure you talk to Alan about the bowling alley, how that went down and how it
yeah.
You don't have to. But I mean, comical things like that, and it's really great to be able to have a rally point and to have all these great Americans participate.
Well, this year we get to have Rally Point at our own brewing facility, probably.
Now that's what everybody is asking me. Everybody is asking me about, so they want me to grill you on this, Alan. So when do you think possibly the next Rally Point is going to happen? I know obviously it's going to be at the brewery when it opens. When do you estimate the time?
I don't know yet, because here's what we're going through real quick. We have acquired the brewing facility. We're going through the licensing process. Today we have Virginia ABC agent there and our Virginia Agricultural Health Department there who passed us today. Those are two components towards getting all the licensing in place that we need to open. We're in the process that, the painters are coming. We've got some refurb to do on it and rebranding of the building. This is a big building. It's not just, not some little restaurant or little tap room. This is a huge brewing facility.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 26,000 plus square feet inside, and it's got an outdoor beer garden. So I think we're going to have an answer for our shareholders here in the next week or two of when Rally Point will be. I would, we did it, November 6th last year, I think, Scott?
Yes. Yeah.
So it could be around that time. Rally Point took a lot to plan. I mean, we were planning that thing for 6 months,
Absolutely.
And this will be a lot easier since we have our own brewing facility. But I'm excited to set a date. So give me about a week or two, and we'll get a date. And like we always do, we inform our shareholders first on everything going on in the company.
And they do. Alan makes sure of it. Everybody gets the acknowledgement of it, gets a heads up what's going on pretty much once a week. Everybody understands, and it's fantastic. Like I said, it's a fantastic company to be a part of, and you don't have to be That's the other thing I wanted to touch on is you don't have to be a veteran just to participate with Armed Forces Brewing Company. You can still be a shareholder. It doesn't matter. I mean, you still do your due diligence by supporting the company and being a part of it. Now, if you can elaborate a little bit. So you closed out the first round, correct? If you can talk about that. So how's the next round work out?
So the next round, we're looking for that opening date on the second round of funding. That round is going to be a $5 million round. We want to open up some brick and mortar tap rooms near military bases around the country. Spread out a little bit. We've had that in on the vision board and in the works and in the business plan for I don't know how many years, you know. So that second round, the first round was $10 a share, $200 minimum buy-in. The second round is going to be $12.50 a share with a $200 minimum buy-in. So pretty affordable. And boom.
You can't beat that.
The first round, you got to get in on the second round.
Yes, as many people and share. Because you know what? As Major Ed says, it's a great day to be an American.
Yes, it is.
And it's an amazing. And again, to you and your family, it's got to put some kind of stress. I don't know how it puts on your family and all that, but for you to be able to go out and do the things that you do all over the place, because obviously you're not in one place at one time, because I'm sure that you've gone back and traveled back and forth to the new brewery that you guys are working on. How's that working out for you? Are you there once a week?
No, actually, I moved to Norfolk, Virginia. I moved here back in March, actually. Getting ready for this whole thing, getting ready for this whole journey. I'm here, hands on.
What better place to be is in the heartbeat, basically, of America. Norfolk, Virginia, the largest naval base in the U.S. How far are you from the naval station?
I live. I'm like really close to the naval station. It's probably 3 miles down the road from where I live, and then I'm 8 minutes from the brewing facility.
So, oh God! So the brewery is right there.
Yeah, it's like it's just a straight shot practically. I mean, it is.
Let's put it this way: sailors, beer. Yeah, that's pretty dang good conversational piece right there, because they're not going to turn it down. Now, as of right now, where do you guys stand as far as how many beers do you have out there right now?
Yeah. So right now we've got our preamble, We the People Light Session Lager. That's that 4.28. There it is. 4.2 ABV. That's your domestic alternative right there, with more flavor than any of those domestics have. Plus you're drinking freedom in a can, man. I love that. We've got our Cat Shot American Craft Lager. Now, Cat Shot, a lot of people go, what a weird name. What does that mean? And this is Cat Shot, catapult shot off an aircraft carrier. This is a tribute to those Top Guns and those aircraft carrier deck crews. One of the most dangerous jobs you can do. There, right there, Scott. That beer tributes you and your service in the Navy. So there's Cat Shot American Craft Lager. That's that pre-prohibition. We use a little maize in the brewing process, so you get a little bit of corn sweetness. That's that beer that is awesome with seafood, like oysters and crab and all that stuff. That's your crab pounding drinking. It's 5.3 ABV. It's got a little more meat to it than normal does, but it's just super tasty with seafood. Awesome. And then Special Hops IPA. That's 6.7 ABV IPA. Bob is America's brewmaster, and I don't mind saying that. I don't mind bragging, because it is the friggin' truth. That man, I got to tell you, we don't have a bad beer in the portfolio. I'm going to say that.
I'm going to say that. We do not have a bad beer in their portfolio. That Special Hops IPA, we got it into Navy Marine Corps Stadium concessions. It's sold out every home game. It's that I said, Bob, you got to get us an IPA that we can drink multiple beers. Okay, we can't be struggling through an IPA, and he did just that. Damn it, that IPA is incredible, and I can't tell you when we go and do tasting, Scott, how many people come out, I don't want to try the IPA. I don't like IPAs. Well, try this one. No, I really don't like IPA. Please try this one. I'm telling you.
Exactly.
Try it. Okay. Ooh, wow. That's incredible. Wow. I like that. Seriously, it happened. 4 years of data doing these tastings, and that was Special Hops IPA. So if you don't like IPAs, try Special Hops IPA. I don't care. You're going to like it. And then we just came out with Ground Pounder Double IPA, which is actually the name is being changed to Grunt. So the next batch is coming out. It's going to be packaged here in the next couple weeks. It's going to be called Grunt. We had a little bit of trademark issue with Ground Pounder, but I like Grunt anyway. It's funny. Grunt.
It works. That's what they are, grunts.
Absolutely, Grunt. But I tried Bob's recipe for Grunt IPA, double IPA, down at our contract brewing partner in Lakeland, Florida, at Brew Hub. It was incredible. That's my favorite beer out of all of our beers. This is double IPA. Wow. It's incredible. It just doesn't slap. It doesn't hit you hard on. I don't know. It's just smooth. It's so smooth for an IPA. You still get that IPA flavor. And watch it because it's 9.0. And
I was just going to say.
You're going to be like feeling good, kind of. We've got Death from Above Coffee Porter coming out. We're going to connect that beer to Code of Vets and do this, Preamble is connected with, we've got a connection with the John Daly Major Ed Heart of Land Foundation. So when people go and buy Preamble, the beer, when you buy our Preamble t-shirts and glassware, we're donating to the John Daly Major Ed, there it is right there, to the John Daly Major Ed Heart of Land Foundation. They're doing incredible work for veterans and first responders and kids with cancer and all sorts of stuff. I mean, they are deployed and rocking it on that end. So we're donating to that. Our coffee porter that's coming out, Death from Above, we're going to connect it to Gretchen's nonprofit, Code of Vets, and help raise money for her organization, which, we talked about that earlier, Scott. I mean, what an incredible organization to help these veterans like that immediately, God bless them. We've got other beers coming out. We got some beer styles. I better watch what I say. I don't want to divulge.
Be careful.
Too much. Yeah. But we've got a whole portfolio of beers coming out, everybody. Promise.
And trust me, I'm excited to see all that. I know Eric, he's a good friend of mine and all that. He sends me out some of the beer. Bob was laughing when he was sending me it because I had a whole bunch because I had my golf charity event last year, but I'm going to be holding another one, which Amit Rapani, he's like, oh, we got to come out there to Indiana because right by the Duesenberg Museum, because I live on the golf course. It's like, hey, beer, cigars, have
they go together.
A blast. But it's for great causes. And like Major Ed, I talked to him he's a regular on the show. He goes, yeah, I'm a regular. He's an amazing person. We're actually partnered up with him and all that. He'll be out to the our next golf charity event. Hopefully you'll be out to the next golf charity event.
When is it?
June 14th. June 14th.
Next year?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, we'll have everything open and rolling and running and on all gears, all wheels. Absolutely.
It would be a lot of fun. And again, doing it for great causes, because I have also a 501c of True North Foundation Incorporated. That's why me, Major Ed, and Folds of Honor are also all together that are helping doing great things for great people. Because you know what? last week I was able to get money to be able to take it to autism. We have a center for autism, and to be able to hand over a check. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. We don't brag about it. We don't talk about it. But when you're doing something very good for our people, it means something. And it takes a place in your heart. Like, I'm trying to get enough money to where hire a clown, for crying out loud, just to go to on the children ward when it comes to cancer and stuff like that, to make the kids laugh.
Yeah.
Because, hey, it would be funnier if you had, like, I'm saying Ray Cash Care and McBee going in there.
Yeah, I don't know if Ray Cash Care would make any kids laugh. He might
would.
The hell out of them, but
no, actually, I'm not going to say this in a mean way, but when I caught him on one of the videos, when it comes to a tutu, he does that very well. So yes, see, I gotcha. So he
That's
would
true.
make kids laugh.
I forgot about that. That's true.
But he's a good sport about it. He's a very good sport about it.
That's true.
No shame about it. But when you get an opportunity to make kids laugh and forget about their problems for just, even if it's for an hour, that's monumental right there. And the work that you guys do on giving back to our veterans, mental health and the homelessness, and for our first responders, same as ours, it speaks monuments. We don't do enough in our society as it is. So that's at least what we can do. So on your beer, do you happen to know what's coming out next or in the pipe works? Because we're supposed to come out with maybe a beer. How often I should say? So
we've got our next release is going to be Death from Above Coffee Porter. That's our beer that's connected to Coda Vets. Matter of fact, we've turned all our artwork into our package company, and as soon as Bob's ready to fire up the kettles there in the brewery, that's going to be one of those first beers that we drop for the company. Plus, it's I'll tell you what, we we went to the Army Navy game and pitched a tent out there with the Americans Wartime Museum tank farm people, and I mean, it was 11 degrees out. It was cold. And we brought up a keg of Preamble. We brought up a keg of Cat Shot. We brought up a keg of Special Hops. And we brought up a keg. Bob brewed a keg of Death from Above Coffee Porter. So about 9 a.m. No, it was actually, I think we got there at 7 a.m., started setting up. About 9 a.m., that's when the tailgate really started happening at the Army Navy game in Philly. That keg, that half keg, those are the big ones, folks. If you don't know what a half keg is, it's the big one. That half keg was drained of Death from Above Coffee Porter in between 11 and 1. I can't remember exactly what time. 11 a.m. 1 o'clock. 3 hours. Yeah, it was gone. It was gone. And everybody was like, "Oh my God, this beer is so great!" And Bob Ruprecht, America's brewmaster,
and he is
hitting it out of the ballpark again,
Home run.
Yeah.
Now, I've got to say, Alan, I love your tattoo that you got for the company. And a lot of people don't realize. If you follow Alan, I mean, the things that he does, being the company, you couldn't ask for a better person who can he believes in who he is and what he stands for on the company.
You're talking about this one, right?
Oh, God, yes. You got Armed Forces.
Yeah.
Mine's We the People.
There we go. We the People. Yeah.
Amen.
Love it.
But it's great. Armed Forces, I love everything about it. And the way it's going in the future, it's always going to be here. And it's just going to keep on ever growing ever so much. Do you find have you guys had any roadblock? Actually, I should say, where are you guys at right now as far as state-wise, being in different states?
Great. You know what? When you were talking about your golf tournament and those things in Indiana, I was going to mention that. we're in 8 states. We've had a couple states where brewery or distributor acquisitions have taken place. Like in Maryland, we had to stop distribution there for just take a pause because a company called Origlio came in and bought up all the Miller Coors distributors in the whole state. Oh, so wow. now you got to go through a distribution agreement process with them, and resend beer up and get with their salespeople to launch correctly. And that's what John Galante's going to be doing here for Maryland. Texas, unfortunately we had a bad distributor down there, and we had to part ways with them. It's very difficult for a supplier like us to cut a partnership with a distributor. They really hold the cards legally in a lot of these states. But the service was so egregious that we were able to negotiate cutting the cord, and now we're trying to find distributors there in Texas to bring our brand on. So there's been a little bit of a disruption there. At the same time, we just opened up Tennessee, and we're actually killing it in Tennessee right now. We're selling a lot of beer in Florida. We're selling a lot of beer in Tennessee. We just opened up Alabama, Scott, and Eastern Pennsylvania. We're getting ready to open up North Carolina here. We just got our permit for North Carolina. They're about ready to order. Huh?
I said, that's fantastic. I'm excited.
Yeah. South Carolina, we're working on Georgia. Ohio's going to fall here real quick. Then we got to get over to then we're going to start going your direction, Indiana, Illinois, you know what I mean? Making our way that way. It helps now that we have our own brewing facility, because that's where the beer is going to come out. Shipping costs, FJB, are expensive nowadays. The price of gas has gone up, price of shipping's going up. So now we're not shipping up from Florida anymore. We can actually get a little cost savings there and ship from Virginia. So your state, we're coming, Indiana. I promise, we're coming, Compass Rose.
I am so excited. I was talking to Bob. He'll say, "Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that because we definitely got to come out." Because I, with my American Legion and everybody else, I've given out the beer, and they absolutely love it. They're like, "How do I find this?" I'm like, "Well, I have a site that you can go to. You just go to Armed Forces Brewing Company, and it will deliver right to your doorstep. So please try it out." They get very excited. A lot of them, they love the preamble, hands down.
Good beer. Every day drinking beer.
Yes. And the ground pounder, well, I should say grunt. I've had a lot of, like I said, it was been nothing but positive feedback. But they're like, "Oh, you definitely know the difference between the beers. If you want to punch, you just want to know that you're actually drinking beer." It's like, okay. Yeah, I'm drinking it.
End of the spectrum there.
But it's awesome. I mean, they love they love what it stands for, what it means. I have a lot of people that are getting more involved in it. And that was leading to the next question is, I know you had up that for hiring, that you were doing a lot of hiring. And if somebody, say for instance, when they go to watch this, when I replay all this, how can they become a brand ambassador if they're in different states to help the company out? How can they do this?
So we're going to be hiring down in Norfolk at the brewery, and our goal is to be 70% veteran employed and their family members. So we've got positions in production, the production side in the brewery that are going to open up. We've got boots on the ground sales positions coming up. Those are good paying jobs for veterans. They're good paying jobs. Boots on the ground salespeople full time in a lot of states. But we have another program called a mercenary program. I love the name of it. We're hiring mercs. For all you veterans out there, we're hiring mercs.
Good Lord.
Don't go to Ukraine. Sell beer for us.
Nope, we got it.
So when we get distribution to a state, when we open up that state for distribution, we're going to be hiring part-time mercs. preferably veterans, preferably shareholders in our company. Who else better to talk about your company when you're out in the field than a shareholder? You know what I mean? That's a veteran. Woo! So the MERC program is it's part-time. You work at your own pace. You're going out there. You're running events at our tent. You're running our tent, talking about our beer at these events, talking about our company at these events. But you're also at your own leisure, part-time, going out to accounts like a retail package store or a draft account, maybe a tap room wants our beer. Or your job is to go in and sell them a tap line at their tap room or at their cigar bar or wherever that is, and you're going to get paid for doing that. We're compensating our mercs for doing that. So that's a way for our veterans to get involved in the company as well.
See, now you got my mind going. I'm interested. I would do it in a heartbeat.
In Indiana, there you can be a merc.
I have so many. Like I have my own cigar brand and all that. I have all those different types. Hey, I love it. And that's what I try to put out is because the company. You want to know, you have the passion for the company and for what it's portraying in every aspect of it. Again, you can't say it enough. You're putting hope back in to where we all need.
We have another great member on our advisory board, Scott, named Scott Mann, Lieutenant Colonel Scott Mann.
Yes.
Beret. He's got a play out there. I was just in Nashville with Scott watching a play that he's put on with a veteran cast called Last Out, Elegy of a Green Beret. And Scott was deployed in Afghanistan. He's part of Operation Pineapple Express, something like that, where he was going in with other service members to get people out of Afghanistan, Americans and Afghani translators that were part of the armed forces, in Afghanistan during the war. And I have a point, I promise, I'll make it short, but he's doing this play. It's about PTSD. It's about what veterans go through when they are deployed over there. My dad had major PTSD. My uncle coming home from Vietnam had major PTSD and actually went homeless as well, Scott. My brother, who deployed 4 or 5 times from Operation Desert Shield and Storm all the way up here to Afghanistan and Iraq, he's got PTSD. So I know a little bit about this because I've experienced, have had it in the family. But the problem with our veterans sometimes, veteran suicide is a huge epidemic in our country. And the problem is some of our veterans are sitting at home doing nothing. They're not doing anything. They've got no activities going on. You transition out of military service, you need to get back into civilian life and get a job, get some extracurricular activities. And this is something that provides a paying extracurricular activity for our veterans as well. Scott's message is storytelling. Our veterans don't get to tell their stories enough. They keep it bottled up. You know what I mean? And it can trigger their PTSD. And storytelling and activities for veterans is what we need out there, in my opinion.
You're 100% right. I have PTSD. A lot of my friends have it. I'm here over by the Fort Wayne, where we have the Veterans Hospital, the VA hospital. A lot of them are forgotten about. They feel like, and I can speak for some of them. I go to groups even with Vietnam vets, and some of the stories that you hear, they don't feel like they're part of the society.
Yeah.
That they got nothing to offer.
And they have so much to offer.
Right.
Anybody hearing this, you have so much to offer. You are totally worthy and important, and you have so much to offer. Yeah.
And it's a shame because I've had a few of them that, that committed suicide, that went through with it. So, yeah, and that's why on the podcast I try to discuss that, because a lot of us don't like talking about those type of subjects. It's a hush-hush kind of topic. Like, oh, you're not allowed to have depression. You're not allowed to have this. You're not allowed to have that. We all got a story to tell. And that's the motivation where I was talking about with Major Ed, Ray Cash Care. I mean, all these gentlemen and all that, they put it back in there when you listen to them. It gives you that moment like, hey, I matter. But even like what you're doing, Code of Vets, we all matter.
They do. And Scott, I just want to make one more point. Just because a veteran has PTSD doesn't mean they're broken. If you want to hire the best people for your company, hire veterans. PTSD or not, hire a veteran. They are the most qualified. They are the most well-trained. I could go through a whole laundry list of the benefits of hiring veterans. I saw an incredible post from Elizabeth Hartman on LinkedIn today just about that topic. Sure, we're veterans. Yes, we have PTSD. It doesn't mean we're totally broken and not able to be in society. Absolutely they are. And we're going to hire our company, Scott, we're hiring as many veterans as possible.
And Godspeed with that. And that's why I'm 100% a part of it, 100%. And all of my friends and family, I know I've lost a lot. My uncles, my grandfather, World War II, all generations that have been in the military. And also, not even them, is also our first responders as well, because they go through, they're our home defense. They go through just as much as what we do as veterans. So we all get it, and everybody matters, and everybody needs a little bit of help sometimes. What you provide for everybody else, your team provides for everybody else, is that hope and something to be a part of. And that's the beautiful part.
And we're coming out with a non-alcoholic beer as well. A non-alcoholic beer. Zero. It's going to be a zero beer. It's called About Face Away from Alcohol. And because we know, there's a lot of veterans who should not be drinking, or that don't drink, or that can't drink, whatever. And we're making that beer for y'all, so you all can cheers a beer that has zero alcohol in it with the rest of us.
Yeah, I need a new beer, Alan.
There you go. Okay? Yeah, I promise it'll be more delicious than that one.
And Bob has said the same sentiments. He goes, I am working on it, very due diligent, very, highly, because I've been sober. And that's the other thing with veterans. I've been sober for 5 years. And sometimes for me, it's not about the alcohol, so to speak. It's about that feeling when I can sit there and hold a beer with all my fellow veterans and have a conversation to be part of it. It's feeling a part of something. And it's hard to talk about because it gets you emotional. You really do feel like you're a part of something. And I can't commend you enough. If there was medals, you would have already gotten it. You and the team.
My medal is hearing just what you said. That's my medal, my friend. And that just ignites me even more to go out and do what we do every day for you veterans. That's all the medal I need.
And you give that, because I've had when I talk about Armed Forces Brewing to the VA hospital, because I go there I'm like, I have frequent flyer miles with it, where you sit there and talk to them like, oh yeah, hey, sit there talk about, hey, be part of Armed Forces Brewing Company. They'll order, and I wear the shirt. I have my shirt and all that of Armed Forces. They're like, hey, what's that? Oh, you want to know what that's about? That's easy. I got everything to tell you. Trust me. And who doesn't like beer? That's like old history. That's like old money right there. Same thing with sports. When you combine them all, people like to have things as conversational pieces. But at the same token, for me, it's a therapy. Because as I talk about it and I share about certain stories, or whether I'm in a group with the veterans, with the Vietnam vets and all that, they come over here partake, they have a beer, I give it to them for free. They're like, man, and we just sit there and talk, and some of those stories, you didn't even have to, it's weird because you don't have to be there, but when you hear those stories, you feel like you're there because it's very real to them.
Yep.
And that's what people don't understand. It's very real. And I'm sure you got it from your family members through the PTSD. You weren't there, but hearing through their stories, you in some shape or form, you are there.
I think today's kids in America need to hear more stories. That's what I think, and I'll leave it at that because they have no friggin' clue what our veterans or military, active duty military, and our veterans go through and have gone through. They have no freaking clue. Zero.
Absolutely none. They don't understand, and that's why we try to reinforce it and talk about as much as possible because people need to understand that, whether it's first responders, our veterans, everybody, get the word out. But at the same token, have a little bit of fun with it too. Drink some beer. And again, I'm going to say this again. Great American beer, people, ladies and gentlemen. Great American beer, literally. And I'm not just talking, it's just because I'm saying because Armed Forces Brewing Company. No, it's all done in America.
Preamble is brewed with one hop. It's a crystal hop. It's out of a veteran-owned, veteran-grown brew farm up in Michigan. Proud of that. Super proud of that. And that's what we're doing as well. I'll say this. When we went into the brewery, Scott, when we took over the brewery, the first thing we had to do was wash the place out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We have we do a 3-quote rule when we're dealing with vendors. We get 3 quotes from 3 vendors. So the first thing we're doing is finding out, okay, pressure washing companies, who's veteran owned? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's what we're doing with. We're going to put out a web page on our website with the logos and website contact information of these veteran companies that we're working with that have provided services at the brewery in Norfolk, Virginia. We're going to do that. So everybody knows who they are. And knows that this company kept its promise and is working with veteran-owned companies. I wish everyone in America did that.
It is, and it means a lot because you got to take care of our home front before anything, anywhere else. And we need a lot more help with whether it's veterans suicides, veterans mental health, the homelessness needs to be super addressed. Mm-hmm. But if people can just reach out and help somebody and talk to them, because a lot of us, we just want to feel like we're human, like we matter. Don't look at us and hey, you got problems. It's hush, hush. I can't talk to you because you're a little weird or you don't talk right. I mean, sorry, I can't help it. But that's the type of things that we go through on a daily basis. But again, Alan, I got to say, thank you so much for joining us on the show. And hopefully you'll be back on the show. And the beer is amazing. If everybody doesn't know, go out. Armed Forces Brewing Company. The second round is open. $12.50. $200 minimum to be a part of something great. So go do it. And on top of it, you can get employed by Armed Forces Brewing Company. If you're a veteran, go out there. Use your voice. Alan will listen and make sure you go. If you want to know anything, go to Norfolk, Virginia, to their new brewery, which I'm so excited, and congratulations, by the way, on everything that you've accomplished, you and the team.
Well, we had a lot of help. We had a lot of help for 9,000 plus Americans.
But God bless it, though.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you so much. And everything that you and everybody else does. and I'm looking forward to the future of what that may hold for Armed Forces Brewing Company.
You got it. Thanks so much, Scott.
Absolutely, brother. I will talk to you later. You have a very amazing day. God bless you. See, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Alan Beal, the CEO of Armed Forces Brewing Company, Bob Rubricht, which is the brewmaster. Nobody can deny it. The brewmaster of it. John Galante, sales, and he does an amazing job, and he's a phenomenal person. But also check out Armed Forces Brewing Company when it goes to the Army-Navy game. Go Navy! Sorry, I'm partial to it.
I lived in Annapolis. I'm a Naval Academy guy. I love Army too. Army, we love you, but yeah, Navy. Yeah, Navy.
Got it. It's the balancing act, right? Go Navy, go Navy. But make sure you send me your address so you can go get it. Compass Rose and all that. I'll make sure that you have stogies, Alan.
Awesome. Love it. Thanks, Scott.
Down. And I got to make sure I come out to Virginia and go check it out.
Yes, absolutely.
God bless everybody. Thank you very much for joining again, the True North podcast. We'll see you next time.